Hey YouTubers, this is Paul Lentz back for another video which is titled 20% of children born into marriages, the husband is not the biological father. That's an incredible stat right there. Men all the time get, women say, oh, men cheat. They don't, you get married and they don't want to go outside the marriage. And they hear all these like Hollywood types, famous people, but regular guys don't. Most husbands cannot cheat. Because like I said before, most women find most men to be unappealing sexually. So it's kind of hard to, for an average guy to kind of cheat when women don't want him. He's lucky to get one woman. I mean, most of you ladies just can't really comprehend, or you don't care to comprehend, how hard it is for a guy to get one woman. The amount of effort he has to put in. Even decent looking guys. Because a decent and attractive man is not a Chad. Okay? And men have to work hard to get one woman's attention. And he gets one to marry him. And yeah. And it's just tough to deal with one woman at a time. The only ones who can really deal with more than one woman at a time and get away with it are the fucking Chads of the world. Now, how did I come up with this 20% stat? Last year, I was in Las Vegas playing at in the month of June. I was playing at the World Series of Poker like I do every year. And I go down there for the whole month of June, and I'll play, a number of bracelet events, trying to do good. And I was at a table, and, we had a table, it's mostly men, but, there's some women that play. But this table, I think, was pretty much mostly men. And we were talking about some stuff. And I think we may have been talking about, people getting DNA testing for their dogs. I have a dog, and I was people oh yeah, I found out that my dog's father lives somewhere, the mother, the siblings, and I was like, what do you guys do, meet and greet? And the guy who was sitting next to me, happened to mention that he worked in either marketing or public relations. I can't quite remember exactly, for 23andMe, and which is one of those websites that deal with, you could send in your DNA testing, and they'll tell you about maybe your family history, or your genetics, stuff like that. And he said that they have a whole department devoted to dealing with irate callers who call in and say they're the parent. And it's like, I sent me and my kids' DNA test to you guys, and you guys couldn't do it right because it says here that me and my kids aren't related. Or the kids did it, with them, got the parents, and they're like, same thing, but you're saying my daddy ain't related to me. I want another test. And so they train their customer service people to put the person on hold, call the department that deals with this, and go, we got another one. We got another one. And it's like, that's kind of like a dirty little secret that, they don't want to talk about with the press. But I think it's more like 21, maybe 22%, but I'll just say 20 just to be nice. But 20% of kids who are born into a marriage, the father's not the biological father. That means that the wife cucked his ass. and it's making him pay and raise another motherfucker's kids. Now I know that men get, all the time get the bad reef, like he's a deadbeat, and it's not really a lot of men are doing that. I think there's a very small percentage of men who are just knocking up a bunch of fucking females, and they're being deadbeats. But that aside, I'm not talking about, like it's good for those guys to do that. I think it's fucked up anyway. But 20% of men ain't being deadbeats. But for a wife to sit there and let another man, a Chad, because it's like that in every case, the wife marries a simp, she marries a non-Chad, because most women end up marrying a non-Chad. Only 4.5% of men are Chads. Now, sure, every woman alive wants to marry a Chad, especially a Chad with a bag, but those motherfuckers don't grow on trees. And so, throughout most of history, women, if they want to get married, have a family, which they had to because they didn't have access to jobs, education, and money-making opportunities that were afforded men, they had to kind of pick. And that, as long as the guy was a decent guy, provided it was for the family, they, accepted that they weren't going to be able to have a good orgasm or have great sex. And they took a purpose and pleasure in the non-sex stuff of the relationship in the family. And they made their peace with it. I'm not saying it's right or fair, but that's just a reality when it comes to that. And so a lot of women kind of decided, you know what, if I come across a Chad, opportunity's right, I'm going to get mine. And that's where that 20% number comes from. Okay? Because a lot of women, now, those are the ones just got caught, and you get caught by getting knocked up. Imagine how high that infidelity rate is among married couples when it comes to women. For the ones that never got knocked up. Okay? That were either on birth control or just, got lucky. But 20% of women have given birth to a child that is not their husband's. And with this DNA stuff, man, I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of families getting wrecked. Just go on YouTube, use their top, and do some searching. People putting videos now of this shit. Like they're talking about their family got fucked, ruined, because, it came out. They found out that daddy's not the real daddy. And not only that, but when these women divorce these guys, and they make them pay they go to the judge, makes them pay child support. And so now they got to pay for another motherfucker's kids. Now, I know that it's, women, you guys can hear me say this, it's fucked up that you're just saying, you're referring to these kids as another motherfucker's kids. Fuck that. Where's the fairness? In just the righteousness in making a man pay for another motherfucker's kids without him knowing about it. But on top of that, you got these judges out there. When the men do find out they've been divorced and they've been paying child support, and somehow they find out, and they go to a judge and say, you know what, can you take away, end these child support payments? The kid's not mine. The judges are saying it's not in the best interest of the kid. That child is accustomed to you paying child support to his mom. And that child needs that. I remember the first time I read some shit like that, and it was like, fuck the best interest of that fucking child. It ain't mine. I'm not responsible for that fucking kid. I was deceived. Fraud was committed against me. That's what these men should be saying. And these judges, what the fuck? Fuck the best interest of the fucking kid that's not fucking his. What about his best interest? You know, and it's like nobody cares. They don't care about the best interest of the man. That's why more and more men are just giving the fuck up, like I did. Just quit dating. Leave these delusional ass, impossible to please, drama-filled, non-peaceful females alone. Now, they're going to hate when I say this shit, because even though they don't want men like us, which men like me make up 95.5% of men. We're not the guys women want, okay? But they need us to compete for them. Because one, they think that the Chads and the Chads with bags that they really want, they think that if men like us compete for them, then these guys will just start acting right and start committing, because they'll be afraid of the competition. That's how fucking women think. That's how delusional women think. But let me tell you something. The Chads with bags, they don't fear motherfuckers like me. They don't fear most men. They know that they belong to a small fraternity of men that make most women cream in their fucking panties. All they gotta do is look at your ass a certain way, say a little charming little, pickup line, act a little mysterious in a bad boy type way, and you ladies will fucking be ready to drop them fucking panties and have him ready to fucking pin those fucking knees behind your fucking ears. And like I said before, ram that fucking man meat through your fucking pussy like he's parting the Red Sea. Because that's what you ladies want. And they know this shit. And so, if a man who's a deadbeat dad and doesn't pay child support, if he's subject to having his wages garnished, losing his driver license, and even put in jail, then women who commit paternity fraud should also have their wages garnished until they pay the motherfucker back, their driver's license suspended if they don't pay, and their fucking bitch ass thrown in fucking prison if they don't fucking pay. You guys want fucking equality? That's fucking equality right there. But now, women are like, I didn't sign up for that. That ain't the same. And it's just like, women judging a man for not being tall enough, physically fit enough. But they're the same women that would not date a guy that's 5'5" that weighs 300 pounds. Just like I said, on the height alone, they'll say, well, we won't wear high heels. I want to be able to look up at my man. And so their excuses are valid, but our preferences are fucking make us fucking misogynistic assholes. Fuck you, cunt. That's what my response is. Go fuck yourself. Because it's just the delusion among these women today. It's like, I was just watching a podcast last night, about the singles events. And these, they had a podcast where, these women were talking about, like, they read, they came across this Pew study. And it said that 63% of men under the age of 30 would rather stay home and watch porn than to go on an actual date with a woman. And these women were just vilifying these guys, even though these are not the guys that women want. Okay? But they're vilifying them because they just think that if these guys would just apply themselves, because one of them saying, these are just broke ass men. They need to get their fucking money together. And like I said, that is what this all boils down to. If you're not a Chad, which 95.5% of men are not, then these fucking modern day females today expect you to get your fucking bag together because they want you to be a fallback option. Because basically, I was watching a podcast where this dude was a high value man on there, had a panel of females on there. And, one of them's interrupting, and he was just like, hold on. You're being argumentative, you're being loud, and you're not making much sense. And the look on her face, the befuddlement, the shock. It's like the first time in her life, and she was she was an attractive female. But the look on her face is like, you could tell that was the first time in her life that a man actually put her bitch ass in check. Because most women today they're used to dealing with two types of men. One are the Chads that'll tell them what they want to hear so they can smash. Okay? They string these women along until they can smash them, and then until they're ready to move on to the next one. The other type of guy they're used to dealing with are the simps, which most men are. Because men who are Chad have to fucking simp. Have to fucking agree with everything she says, or risk rocking the boat and being dumped. Because women love dumping men that aren't with their program. So these women who claim that they want a high value man, a lot of them get fucking culture shock when they actually get the opportunity to date that guy. Because the men who have it in themselves to become a high value man, a Chad with a bag, a good looking man with wealth, that guy has a lot of discipline. That guy has the ability to make cold decisions, to be blunt. His time cannot be wasted. And that he has hella standards and high expectations. And so these women who think that they're going to, because they look good, that they're going to just meet a high value guy that's just going to fucking simp on them. Now, sure, they may get a rich guy that simps on them. But a high value man, that motherfucker has no simping in him. And so, the first time he puts his foot down and he puts these fucking females in check, say, you know what? If you're going to be with me, this is what I expect from you. And these females either learn real quick what time it is. Because, yeah, he's going to fuck you good. Yes, he's going to spend money on you, provide you with a life of luxury. But that shit ain't free. You got to be on his fucking program. Because he didn't get to be where he is today by being a fucking simp. Because your bitch ass is replaceable. He's the fucking prize. Not you ladies out there. And the minute you act like you're not, that he's not the prize, you get dumped. He ain't gonna wipe your ass up. But see, most women ain't used to dealing with motherfuckers like these because these guys don't grow on trees. But women sure like fantasizing about shit like that. Getting online talking about that. And so the women who talk about all the high value men that they've been with, were only with these guys for a minute. Until these guys grew tired of their act. Yeah, they spent a little money on them, did a little shopping. But you know what? To these guys, it's just it's a business expense. It's what they have to. It's kind of like, you're filtering out the mismatches, the trash, until you find that diamond in the rough. But because they can afford to just write it off. The thing is, most men can't. And that's the problem for most women, is that they just think that, they see the Instagram, TikTok, they just see all these women, they see these women, having a great life with these high value men. And they just think that every guy should be like that. And they just, and so it's like, oh, just build yourself up and just, you guys spend all this money on me, blah, 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 blah. And most men cannot afford to do that. Even men make this decent money. Because women are just looking at, it's just one date. But for most men, it ain't just one date. It's a bunch of first dates. Because most of your first dates don't lead to second dates. And a man who's had to spend money on like 3, 4, 5 first dates and got nothing to show for it. And when I say nothing to show for, I'm not talking about just getting pussy, okay? I'm talking about not getting a second date. Because either she didn't feel the vibe with him, or he just was like, man, she's just too much to deal with. Regardless, the expense is on him. And so these women just expect these, regular guys just to hey, it's a price of business. Because, the rich guys or the high value men they've been with, they write it off. Why can't you motherfuckers write it off? Because, money don't grow on trees for most fucking men. And it's like women expect to make their own money, and yet they want you, the man, to pay for the dates. Yeah, that sounds like equality to me. Not. So, I mean, it's just, mind-boggling how just you see these different podcasts like this, and it's just, wow. And yeah, a lot of guys just, they're under 30 guys. They're giving up. I guess I kind of like got ahead of it back in 2007. I gave up in 2007, and I wish I'd given up a lot earlier. I really do. But better late than never. Because let me tell you something. The last 17 years of my life, I enjoyed because like I was an adult at 18, right? So I'm 52 now. So they say it's 34 years I've been a grown up. The first 17 years of my life as an adult prior to 2007, when I gave up dating, man, it was a fucking struggle. Just dealing with women, dealing with, how to navigate. You're trying to, you're trying to find yourself, live, pay bills, get by, and you're also trying to date and trying to, deal with females, and it's just fucking tough. And then finally, I got kind of, when I turned 29, I started, like I said in other videos, I had some success, but man, it was still draining. And the relationships ultimately weren't fulfilling. And that's why I just gave up. So in the past 17 years, I've had like a pretty peaceful, easy mode life. And I think that more and more men are just going to wake up and just decide, you know what? It's just easier just to enjoy life by yourself. And like, the whole porn thing. Yeah, I watch, as you get older, the need to want to fucking look at porn and jack off, subsides a little bit. A couple times a week's fine for me. I got my collection of porn I've been able to collect over the years, and I got my fine ass bitches, and guess what? These women never age. I got a fucking stash of porn that goes back 20 something years that I every time I get a new laptop, I, transfer from one hard drive to my laptop to another, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't even have to really download new porn anymore. And I got like my, I call them a stable of bitches that whenever I want to mentally go there, I think about, one of my ex-girlfriends I used to do something with, but regardless, this is not the posting for that. But I need to have that. I have that need. I can do it right there, make it last as long or as short as I want. And then once I do it, then it's over with. X out. And I can go back to doing what I was doing before. And I'm cool. I'm relaxed. I don't have to like deal and talk to some needy ass, argumentative, expensive female. Now I know you ladies listen to this and you'll be like, loser. But I like my fucking life. Okay? I like what's mine is mine. I like the fact that, if I want to sit home and do nothing, I can sit home and do nothing. If I want to go out, I want to go to Vegas and play a bunch of poker tournaments for the month of June. Or if I want to go up to Thunder Valley next month in Sacramento and play another poker tournament, whatever I want to do. Or if I want to go down to Coma and play, I can go on hikes with my dog, and do other things. I don't, I can just do what I want and do the things I enjoy doing. And a lot of men are starting to get hip to this. And because there's just no stress. I come home every day and it's like no fucking stress. It's relaxing. It's peaceful. I can, it ain't that hard for me to keep my apartment clean. And it's just, I can just watch what I want whenever I want. And then when I'm ready to go to bed, I go to bed. And I sleep good. It may not be the most exciting life. All right. I may not have like a purpose or like, oh, you have a purpose. You're building a family, your kids. And a significant percentage of families, the father is not there when the child turns 18 because women divorce these guys. These wives can only stay married for so long to a not Chad, which 95.5% of men are not Chad. And nowadays, not only are women today who decide to get married divorcing much quicker than women in the past did, but a lot of these women are just not going to settle down, period. So it doesn't matter if a guy builds himself up. That skank that was talking about in that podcast yesterday, telling these guys who stay at home who are under 30 to build themselves, make some money, get that money getter. That's all they want these guys for. They're not attracted to these guys. The Chads out there, they got no problem with the dating game. They're the only 4.5% of men are fucking living in fantasy land because of all you females out there. Most men are struggling with the dating game. A lot of men have given up. But the ones who don't, who are still trying to simp, good luck, fellas. Get back in 10 years, let me know how that fucking simping worked out. But it's getting to the point, and it's going to really accelerate in the next few years, is that even simping's not going to be enough to get a woman to marry you. Because these women are making their own money. They're building themselves up to be able to, if they can't get that Chad or Chad with a bag to marry them, they can afford to stay single. Just like I'm content with being single. Because I don't want to be a fucking simp to get a female to want to be in a relationship or be married to me. Well, guess what? These women themselves, they're deciding, I don't want to get married to a man that I'm not sexually attracted to. So, you ladies who are bitching about men going their own way, well, guess what? You ladies are doing the same fucking thing. And according to that Morgan Stanley study that I touched on yesterday, by 2030, that's 5.5 years from now, 42% of women aged 40 and over will be single and childless. Single and childless. And then once you hit 40, then you're pretty much never going to have kids. Okay? I don't want to hear about fucking eggs and in vitro. Yeah, you know what? Only rich people can afford to do that shit. Okay? All right. But you women who are making your own money and you think you're going to fucking do the frozen egg individual thing by yourself because you can't get Chad or Chad with a bag to wife you up, you're going to find how fucking expensive that shit is when you got to do it by yourself. Because from what I understand, a successful pregnancy doesn't usually happen on the first try. And each try is fucking expensive. And I can't help but laugh at that because you know what? You brought it on yourselves. You know, you guys are in, you guys, when you are young, you have prime breeding years. And you wasted them. You either wasted them on your career or you wasted them on fucking Chad. I don't give a fuck. That's on you. So if you expect any sympathy from a motherfucker like me, I got something to show you. You see what this is? That's the world's smallest violin saying, cry for the skanky bitches out there. Not. Because we ain't going to cry for you. And I mean, it's just... I wish there's another word besides delusional I can come up with, because I mean, it gets tiring saying over and over delusional, delulu, whatever. But it's a really appropriate term to describe most women today. You know, because they live in delulu land. You know, when it comes to their expectations, when it comes to their preferences of men. Because it's not standards that you ladies have a problem with. Well, it is when you're younger, because your standards were fucking zero when you're letting Chad and Tyrone fucking, pump those fucking guts full of their fucking man-meat sperm. And just running and, through your fucking asses. Often knocking you up with their fucking baby that they're going to fucking go, take off like Casper the Friendly Ghost and be a deadbeat dad to you fucking skanks. But that aside, and then you get older and all of a sudden now you got standards. But there's nothing wrong with having standards per se. The problem is your preferences are like sky fucking high. And really, I mean, it's like, I look at these singles events. They show like, they do like a widescreen with these women, like 90% women, whether it's that or speed dating or whatever. And these ladies ain't all that to look at. And yet they just think they're going to get Giga Chad there. And the guys that show up, they give them this snarly looking, get away from me creep look. Instead of having appreciation for the guys that do show up, because this takes some fucking courage for a man to show up at these kind of events. All right? But no. You're not feeling it. He ain't making fucking, Daddy Warbucks type money. And it's like, I'm not going to settle. You ever look in the fucking mirror, ladies? A lot of you got plenty of fucking flaws. And yet you want that man that you fucking think's going to fucking wife you up. You don't want that motherfucker to have flaws. Total delulu. But even if a guy, is fortunate enough, he gets, he simps or whatever, and he gets a wife him up, there's a 20, 21, 22% chance that he's going to end up having to financially support a kid that's not his. Because his wife is going to fucking cuck him. When he's at work or out of job, for a job or whatever, she's going to hook up with some fucking Chad that's going to fuck her the way she wants to be fucked. That's going to make her turtles curl. Going to make that fucking pussy tingle. And gush out like fucking Niagara Falls. And then she's going to have his baby. But not tell you it's his. And your dumb ass is going to be fucking paying for another motherfucker's kids. Playing daddy to that kid. The only difference between you and being the actual stepdad is that you're living in fantasy land unknowingly for a number of years. And then when you find out, it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks. It's going to be so fucking painful. It's going to be emotionally devastating to you find out that something you love, invested in, doesn't belong to you. And their kids will not be your grandkids. It'll be that fucking Chad's grandkids that your wife cucked you with. And it's like, man, I'm glad I ain't never got to go out like that, man. I mean, it's just, losing half my stuff, alimony, child support, attorney fees. Man, I can't even imagine how painful it would be to just have to live with, like, every 2 weeks or every month I got to just write a check to a fucking bitch. Pay money for kids that I'm never going to see. And they're going to end up hating my motherfucking ass because I'm not around. Because women, they get custody, and a lot of them, they move. So unless you're going to move to where they move to, which, a lot of times can't be the case, you're going to drift apart from your kids. But your financial obligation won't go. And so it's just like, not worth it. It's just not worth it. And there's, what? There's so much to do out there, guys. Leave these fucking skanky skanks alone. Let 80% of women fucking do a Hunger Games battle royal for the 4.5% of men that are just happy to fucking run through them. And for the few Chads with bags out there, let it be fucking battle royal, fight to the finish, fight to the death of which one will end up basically like winning the lottery. Because you ladies out there with your delulu preferences and your decision to just like basically not settle, because now that a lot of you ladies out there are financially, you got your money together, you're financially independent, you're a boss babe. Well, guess what? You've limited by your choices in life. You've limited to a very small pool the number of men that you allow yourself to consider marrying. Whereas those guys, they have a fucking endless pool of women that they can choose from. And they can just sit back and just let you ladies compete against each other. And those of you that think that you're fucking special, you're unique, you bring something different to the table, that you deserve that fucking guy, it's going to be a rude awakening. You better get a fucking cat, ladies. Most of you better. Because I suspect by 2030 that 42% is going to be somewhat higher than 42%. I'd be willing to say at least half. Half of women, maybe more. Because women really, most of you ladies really think that you deserve the best. That you deserve to have your cake and eat it. That the world is entitled, you're entitled to the world. Because nobody's telling you no. Nobody's telling you, no, you got to settle. You're not a 10. You're not a queen. You're not a boss babe. No. They're not telling you that, you know what? You need to lower your preferences, and you need to actually give a decent man a reason to just not go his own way. But you ladies are not doing that. You just keep doing what you've been doing for a while now. And yet, what do the numbers say? less and less people are getting married. The number of children per couple is shrinking. Marriages are lasting much shorter now. The divorce rate is increasing. The percentage of single parenthood, the single mom rate, is drastically rising. And it's not just single black women that are fucking on top by themselves. White women and other races of women are starting to catch up when it comes to the single mom thing. Whose fault is that? And if you say men, no. You ladies decide who you allow to come between your legs. Okay? You decide who allow to be your baby daddy. You guys decide this shit. You decide who you're going to date. We can't make you date us. No. You decide. And so you need to start being accountable and hold yourselves accountable for these decisions and the actions you take when it comes to the type of men that you shack up with, that you procreate with. And also when it comes to who you disqualify. Because you're disqualifying a lot of decent men out there because of your delusional fucking preferences and expectations. You know, and so fellas, just leave them alone. Quit fucking simping. Anyway, video's like 42 minutes, so I think yesterday's video was like 2 hours, so I'm gonna end this one. And I got some requests to make a video about like what's going on with the world, like in politically, you know, with the election and certain things. And I think I may do that tomorrow, switch it up a little bit, because I got some, you know, obviously I got some pretty strong opinions about what's going on in the world with the election and stuff. And so I got some fans out there that kind of a little hungry for that. So expect that either tomorrow or the next day, but maybe tomorrow. All right, YouTubers, you guys have a good night, and I'll see you guys soon.